Hello, beautiful souls. So we are talking about signs from our loved ones in spirit today. Signs is probably one of the most loved subjects that people like to ask about. It's near and dear to my heart. It's near and dear to the hearts of many, I know. So let's go ahead and dive right in. There are so many ways that loved ones on the other side can get us signs. The capabilities are almost endless. So it would be impossible for me to cover every single way that they can get us signs in a single video, but I will do my best to cover some of the most common. So let's get into using animals as signs. So one misconception I want to get right out of the way is that our loved ones actually are the animals when they use animals as signs. So we all know, like when we see a cardinal and we consider it to be a sign from our loved one, or we might see a butterfly and consider it to be a sign from our loved one. Those are two pretty common. I had people who have considered, like raccoons, squirrels, whatever is personable to you and your loved one. That's wonderful. And those animals are signs. They are very, very real signs. However, your loved one in spirit is not the actual animal. So that's the misconception that I want to get out of the way right off the bat. Your loved one's spirit is not in the animal. Your loved one is not the animal, okay? More or less what's happening is they are nudging the animal to make its way into your path. So your spirit loved one and the animal who has a soul itself, two separate souls, two separate entities. Your loved one is nudging that animal to make its way into your path. And that is how the sign happens to be. Or your loved one is nudging you into the path of the animal. Okay, so that is how animals are used as signs. That's how animal signs make their way into our lives. Okay, and when I say loved ones in spirit are nudging you, so nudging you into the path of an animal, so that actually happens all the time. So loved ones clairsentiently, meaning they use their feelings and our feelings to communicate. That happens often. So they clairsentiently communicate with us. They clairvoyantly communicate with us. That's vision. So clairaudiently, they communicate with us as well. That happens all the time. So they are communicating with us through feelings, communicating with us through images, communicating with us through hearing, through thoughts. We just don't always recognize that that's what's happening. And so you might get a thought to, hey, let me stand up and go step over to the window and look out the window right now, and you don't really know why, but you just have this thought of, hey, I'm going to go ahead and do this right now. So you step over to the window, you look out, and you see a cardinal in the tree, okay? So that would be an example of your loved one nudging you to see that cardinal sign from them, right? It wasn't really your own thought telling you to go look out the window. You think it was your own thought, but it was actually your loved one communicating with you to receive the sign that they wanted to give you. Moving on to another common sign, which would be sending you physical objects, putting those physical objects in your path. So, for example, coins are a common physical object. You might associate like the sunshines or a certain type of flower, pretty much any object you can think of. Everybody has something different that they associate with their particular loved ones or their various loved ones in spirit. They might have a different object for each person. Some people might have an object that they associate just with like family members in general. But those objects, 90% of the time, are placed in our path in the very same way that I just described animals. So 90% of the time, they are placed on our path by spirit working with another living person to get the object to your eyesight, to get the object into your presence, okay? So 90% of the time, they're using another individual on this earth plane to get the object in front of you, or they're working with you to get you in front of the object so that you notice the object. So that means that it's only like 10% of the time that spirit is somehow manifesting that object into existence from their dimension to ours, okay? So that 90% of the time, so let's use a coin as an example, okay? So let's say that a complete stranger who you don't know is walking past your house on the sidewalk, right? They have coins in their pocket, okay? Let's say they're walking past your house and for some reason they get this thought in their head of, hey, I'm going to reach in my pocket and I'm going to take out a piece of gum that happens to be in the same pocket as the coins that they also have in their pocket, right? They're like, I want a piece of gum right now, right, as they're in front of your house. So they pick out that piece of gum, and with it, they accidentally drop a penny that happens to be the same date that your father in spirit passed away, or the same date that your father in spirit was born. They accidentally pull that penny out with the piece of gum and accidentally, unbeknownst to them, drop it in front of your house. But they get that piece of gum out, they put it in their mouth, they keep going about their day, keep, going about their stroll. Okay, so this person, they just feel like, hey, I wanted a piece of gum. I'm going to pull it out of my pocket. I'm going to chew my gum, going about my day. They don't know any different. But really, your dad in spirit put that thought there. Your dad in spirit either used clairaudience by giving them the thought of, I want a piece of gum. I want a piece of gum. Hearing those words disguised as their thought, or sending them the feeling clairsentiently disguised as the feeling. Your dad in spirit put that into their energy field, into their headspace, right, as they're in front of your house, because your dad is higher consciousness. He knows about that penny that was in their pocket. Okay. Your dad is higher consciousness. He knew that they would fumble and drop that penny right in front of your house. Your dad is higher consciousness. He knows that you're planning to mow the lawn when you get home from work, or that you're planning to garden and that you're going to come across that penny and you're going to find it, and so on and so forth. So that is a perfect example of how they use other living people to get the signs in front of us. Another example would be, say you receive numbers as signs. Say your son is in spirit and he had a certain baseball number that he always wore on his jersey, and you see that as signs and you associate that number as a sign from him. So say somebody has that number on their license plate and they always drive a certain way home from work every day, and you always drive a certain way home from work every day, and you would never cross paths. So your loved one may put a feeling or a thought or a knowing in your head of, I'm going to randomly turn, I just feel like I need to turn this way today. I just feel like I need to take this route home from work today. And you don't really know why. It's just, it's maybe some more scenic route. Maybe it's just like going around the block, and you don't really know why, but you just go ahead and do that. And by going ahead and doing that, you happen to pass by that car with your son's baseball number on the license plate, or you think that you have the idea in your head from your own human mind to take that alternate route that put you in front of that car. But in reality, it was your son in spirit giving you that nudge because he wanted to put you in front of that sign. Okay, so that is how the majority of physical objects come into our existence as signs. They come from spirit, but the majority of the time, it's not actually spirit manifesting them into existence. So they're not like pulling it out of the spirit realm and placing it into the physical realm. They're working through their communication techniques to get them into our existence, okay? Using often complete strangers. Sometimes they'll even nudge complete strangers to come up and say things to one another as signs, which is super cool. I've had clients tell me really neat stories of complete strangers coming up and saying things to them, like kind things, nice things, loving things. And the people are like, I don't know why I'm telling you this. I just feel like I really need to. And it ends up being like a really profound message from a loved one on the other side, and not a reading by any means, because that's totally unethical, but just like, I'm trying to think of an example. Just like, hi, hi, my name is David, and I just really need to tell you to have a wonderful day today. Things like that. And then it turns out that the person that they felt, that the complete stranger whose name is David, and I feel like I need to tell you to have a wonderful day today, they felt urged to tell this person that. It turns out that that person's husband named David had recently passed away, 10 days ago. Things like that. So that's not coincidence, right? Then there's electronics. So electronics are another common way that spirit works with us. And I feel like this is obviously I'm not in spirit, and none of us are really going to know 100% like how easy or how difficult it is for spirit to work with us until we ourselves transition and we're over there. But I do feel like electronics and the manipulation of electronics is probably one of the easiest signs for them to get to us, because spirit is pure energy, right? Like, they are no longer in a physical body. Our physical body vibrates low, spirit vibrates high. Our souls vibrate high, but our physical body weighs us down as human beings. So when we shed this physical body, our pure soul vibrates high. We're no longer weighed down, etc. So they are vibrating high. They're pure energy. So in terms of electrical objects, that's pure energy as well. I feel like that's super easy, or much easier for them to tap into, or it's very easy for them to tap into. Just like it's easy for them to tap into us via communication in terms of getting those physical signs to us. However, they're reliant on the other person, they're reliant on us responding to their communications, right? But in terms of like electrical objects, the electrical object is always going to respond. They're not reliant on a human being, the human being's brain, responding to the communication. So therefore, I feel like the electrical objects, they're not reliant on on you taking the message and doing something with it, or a stranger taking the message and doing something with it. So I feel like electrical objects are probably their safest, their easiest bet. So I feel like that's why they use them so often. So when you have things like, your phone like turning on by itself, or your phone like turning a song on by itself, or your radio in your car like doing funky things like skipping, or your TV changing channels, or like your alarm clock going off by itself, or pretty much anything you can think of with like an electrical piece of equipment, lights going on and off or flickering, pretty much anything you can think of. And you have the split second knowing, like the initial knowing that it was your loved one. Trust that, because your soul knows. And when your soul knows, it knows. If your brain later doubts, that's your human monkey mind being like, no, trying to talk you out of it. Okay, your human monkey mind doesn't know. Your soul knows. Trust your soul. I'm not saying that you can't have like, light bulbs flickering, or like other things happening in your house that, could be explained away by other scenarios. But when you get that split second knowing, you will get a knowing, okay? If there's other things happening that aren't from spirit, you won't get that knowing along with it. Always trust your gut, trust your soul. These are the signs, those 10% of the time, that manifest into the physical earth plane that can't really be explained. Things that just manifest into your physical reality, where you, for example, you clean off your table entirely, and then you leave the room, go to the bathroom, come back, and there is a bright, shiny penny laying there that had 110% not been there before, with your grandpa's birth date on it. It manifested into this physical reality, and nobody else is in the house. There's no other explanation other than it having come from some form of manifesting from spirit realm into the physical realm. I cannot explain that to you. I cannot tell you how that happens. I've been having more and more instances of this happening with myself lately. It's super amazing. It blows my mind. it's one of those things that we're not going to be able to explain how it occurs until we ourselves are transitioned, and we ourselves are the ones, bringing forth those signs for those living here on the earth plane. These are more rare occurrences. The majority of the time, it's easy, and I feel like they're rarer because I do assume, based on my knowledge of spirit and how the spirit realm works, I do assume that these take a large amount of energy to bring forth. So that is why I do feel like they are more rare. I do feel like the easiest signs are electronical, if that's a word. And then the next easiest signs is utilizing the living. And then, animals, of course, are always vibrationally responsive. Oh my gosh, animals are amazing. But beyond that, physically manifesting signs, I feel like that is the rarest, but you cannot discount it, right? Because it happens, and it's freaking amazing when it does. So hopefully that explains a bit about signs for you guys. If you have any questions, make sure you drop a comment below. Do please hug the subscribe button for me so you don't miss any future videos. And I thank you so much for listening, and I will see you soon. Bye.